Welcome to the famous Pentagon building. The building is the headquarters of the Department of Defense and one of the world's largest office buildings. It has about 3 times the floor space of the Empire State Building, which gives you some indication of its enormous size. However, the site you're standing on used to be nothing but wasteland and dumps. It was in 1941, shortly before the US entry into the Second World War, that the decision to construct a building which gathered all defense personnel in one building was taken. At the time, the War Department workforce numbered more than 25,000 people, housed in 17 different buildings. Needless to say, the new building would have to be huge in order to fit all those people into a single building. The guidelines given was not to provide office for the current 24,000 employees, but to have a maximum capacity of 40,000, while at the same time keeping the building less than 6 stories high. This not so easy task was solved by Engineer Officer General Brian B. Somervell and his 2 subordinates. Together they proposed a 5-sided building design. The shape is commonly known as a pentagonal shape, which has given the building its name. The construction started right away with 41,000 concrete piles and 55 million cubic yards of earth forming the foundation of the building. The construction process went incredibly fast, and the building stood completed in January of 1943, only 16 months after the start of the construction. A normal time period for a project of this magnitude was around 4 years. In total, around 4,000 men were working on the building in 3 shifts, which explains the remarkably fast completion of the building. When you look at the outside of the Pentagon, you will see that it is rather stripped of details and other ornamentation. This is a choice the designers made, as they wanted to minimize or even avoid using critical war materials whenever possible. For example, they used concrete drain pipes rather than metal, and they eliminated bronze doors and copper ornaments. The building might look like a big block, but the fact is the Pentagon is built as 5 pentagonal rings, with space in between each ring to allow sunlight into the building. In the middle of the Pentagon, you can even find a small park. Exactly 60 years after the initial construction of the Pentagon, the September 11th attacks occurred, in which American Airlines Flight 77 crashed into the west side of the building. The flight penetrated 3 of the 5 pentagonal rings, killing a total of 184 people. Luckily, the area hit by the plane was undergoing renovations, which left several offices unoccupied. Otherwise, the death toll would most likely have been even higher. After the attacks, a massive project was initiated, with the task of rebuilding the damaged sections within 1 year. It was named the Phoenix Project, with reference to the mythological phoenix bird, which always rises from the ashes. The 9/11 attacks also led to the construction of the place you are standing at right now, the Pentagon Memorial. The construction of this memorial began in 2006 and was dedicated on September 11, 2008. The memorial contains 184 benches, 1 for each victim of the attack, arranged in order of the year of birth of each individual. Each bench also carries the name of a victim with a small pool of water underneath it. If you pay attention, you will see that some of the benches point towards the Pentagon, while others point away. This is no coincidence, but symbolizes whether or not the victim was inside the plane or inside the Pentagon. The benches for the 59 victims on board the plane are arranged so that someone reading the name on the end of the bench will face the sky where the plane came from. The 125 benches for the victims inside the Pentagon face the opposite direction, so that someone reading the name will look up and see the facade of the Pentagon where the jet hit that day. Today, the Pentagon is almost a city in itself. It has more than 20,000 employees and parking lots for over 8,000 cars. While inside the building, they tell time by 4,200 clocks, drink from 691 water fountains, and can utilize any of the 284 restrooms. Even though the building was constructed during the early years of World War II, it is still thought of as one of the most efficient office buildings in the world. Despite its enormous size, it only takes around 7 minutes to walk between any 2 points in the building. Getting an in-depth look of the inside of the Pentagon can be hard if you haven't booked time in advance. But if it's possible and you have the time, I can highly recommend a visit on the inside.